Today I want to talk to you about my camera history. Let's go down memory lane. So everyone's got a camera lane history, and everyone's going to have different routes that they've taken with their camera history. So I thought it'd be interesting to go down my camera memory lane, show you what cameras I've had, why I bought them, and show a few pictures I've taken with them over the years. So to get started, let's look at the first one I bought. The first camera I bought was, I wanted something that I could take pictures with. We're going back 10, 15 years ago now, where camera phones were in their very early stages. They were like really low quality, bad pictures. So having an actual camera, you had to spend some money to buy a proper camera. I wanted something that I could take away on holiday, take some snapshots with, basically. Video wasn't of interest back then, and I don't think this camera's even got a video feature. But anyway, this is the first camera I bought, the Kodak. It's a Kodak, and it has 6 megapixels, which, you know, it's not bad, it's not amazing. But the reason I went for this one, A, because it was in my price range. I think I paid about £150 for this. But if you look at camera phones now, and the technology in camera phones now, most camera phones have 2 lenses in. They have a wide and a zoom. Well, 10, 15 years ago, look at that. 2 lenses, a wide and a zoom. And with that, it gave me 10 times optical zoom. And that was the real reason I went for this. And I haven't really seen any other camera out there have this asset. When I say have this asset, I mean as in not having a big protruding lens that comes all the way out. No, this kept it nice and sleek. This was actually a pocketable camera. I like the design. I like that kind of nice, simple, square, chunky design. And I took pictures with it. And this, I particularly remember taking this to Russia about 10 years ago. Went to Moscow and St. Petersburg. I did some long exposures. I also took it to Rome. I remember taking a few long exposures with it, and that was really the very beginnings of me getting into photography back then. So yeah, it's a shame I don't have the charger for this, because I'd love to crack it out, take some pictures of it and see. Oh, it does have a video feature, but it must have been like basically potato quality. Going on a few years now, so probably this must have been 10 years ago I bought this, actually. I wanted to evolve from that camera. It did the job, but I wanted something more rugged that I could throw around, take underwater. And there were quite a few cameras out at that time that had that feature. So I went for this Panasonic Lumix. I think it cost me about 300 quid. Mega wide 28mm lens, 12 megapixels. And built like a tank, and to this day it still works, and it has been around the world. Where have I taken it? Bolivia. It's gone underwater. My brother took it scuba diving in Mauritius. It's rated to like 5 meters, say, and he went double that basically underwater, and he was saying that he couldn't take any pictures because the pressure was so much that it was pushing the buttons in already, and also it was bowing the screen. The screen had a physical bow in it with the pressure that was on it, but still works. So it's a really good camera, this. A specific image I remember taking with this is when I went with some friends up to Snowdon. We climbed Snowdon, but we went via a mountain next to it called Crib Goch, and Crib Goch has got a really, it's like striding edge, you know, it's that really sharp drop off either side, and the weather came in, clouds everywhere, the visibility was low. But we had an amazing time, and I remember taking what I think is a really memorable image. One of my favourites I've taken, just because it kind of encapsulates the bad weather, the danger, and just the fun we were having at the same time, you know, living life on the edge. Another great memory with this camera is going to the salt flats in Bolivia, and I wanted an image, because I could submerge it, I wanted an image in these pools of water. around, and I stuck it in this pool of water, took a picture, pulled it out, and goodness me, it was an inch thick in salt. It was just covered, and it took a good old clean to get that nice and shiny as you see now. But this camera has taken some abuse, I tell you. Being around the world, yeah, some good memories attached to this camera and taken with it. I don't have the camera with me, but the next one I went on to was the next kind of big step in my camera-lution, shall we say, camera-lution. It was a DSLR, and me and my mother went in together because we both wanted a nice camera, and we ended up going for a Pentax because my dad had a load of old Pentax glass that he used to have in the old film days, and the one we went for was called the K200D, if I remember correctly. It was a crop sensor, 12 megapixels, but image quality just shot up, and the fact that I could throw on my dad's old lenses on it. Pentax lenses are reasonably cheap anyway, and yeah, it was a good camera. I took that around. I took that to Bolivia with me as well, to the salt flats, but it was a chunky monster, and yeah, the image quality was pretty good. And it was with that I kind of honed using manual controls, learning ISO and how that, you know, affects noise, learning apertures and shutter speed, because you know, you start taking these pictures and they're blurry and you're like, why are they blurry? And then you learn about shutter speed and depth of field and all these kinds of things. So kind of honed a lot of the basics with that Pentax camera. The next camera I got is the one I'm recording with, the Sony a6000. Now this is an older version, the Nex 5, but it's basically the same form factor, so I'm just going to hold this for reference. But I went through a lull in using a proper camera. Camera phones quality was come to the point where you could just carry a camera around in your phone all the time, take snapshots. What was it? I went to Sweden a few years ago, and I was just disappointed in the camera quality of my phone. I just felt like I was missing out on a lot of really good shots. So it was soft, the lens was scratched, and I thought, no, I'm going to get a nice camera to use. And a trip to Scotland came up, and I thought, now I need to get a nice camera. Looked around, reading reviews and things, and this Sony a6000 kept popping up. 24 megapixels, crop sensor, great value, I would say. I got it £100 cash back from Sony, so I only paid about £450 for it. It's up there with the pro cameras, I would say, for image quality. You really need some good glass on the front of it. The kit lens is, I would say, bad, shall we say. Now, the last camera I bought was for a different reason. It wasn't for pictures so much as more for video, for the vlogging. I wanted something small but had good video quality, good image quality. Becoming a Sony fanboy at this point, I was looking at the Sony RX100 lineup and ended up going for the Mark III flip out screen, great image quality for video and stills. In fact, for a 1-inch sensor, this camera, or the RX100 lineup, is amazing. The dynamic range, the low light performance as well is just amazing with these cameras. I'm really impressed, and this is my like go-to weekend away camera now because it's so pocketable and the image quality is just amazing for its size. So there we go, that's my camera memory lane. Looking to the future though, I am wanting a full frame camera. You know, I can't put a foot wrong with that Sony a6000 for image quality, but there are times when I feel we're looking at diminishing returns at this point, going up to full frame because of the cost. But the Sony a7R II I think is like my dream camera. Not just the megapixels, but the dynamic range, the low noise off it. There's just a lot of elements I feel with that camera. There's a lot of technique in cameras, and I feel like I'm on the limit with what the sensor can achieve with this Sony a6000. There's times when editing pictures I feel like there's a lot of noise in the shadows, and I want to bring up the shadows because the dynamic range isn't quite there. And I think going full frame, especially with a Sony a7R II, especially because the price is dropping on them, is the way forward. And I'm not saying it's going to make me take better pictures, it won't. I'm just saying it's going to help me is going to save me, I think, from mistakes I make, because I take pictures and then realise, oh, I should have bracketed that situation, or you know, I didn't expose it correctly, and all these kinds of things. And also the ability to crop in massively with all those megapixels to, you know, recompose the picture in that way. Because these moments we take pictures literally split second, and if you don't capture it exactly right with the camera you have, then you're limited by what information that sensor has collected. And with a full frame camera, I just feel that you're able to get that bit more information into the camera in that split second, and it's with that can make the difference between saving an image and the image just being not quite there quality wise. So that's my thinking going forward. I haven't hit the button just yet, but I'm definitely tempted. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Walk down memory lane there with cameras. My Cameralution. But it'd be interesting to find out what cameras you've had over the years, because there's still them old favourites that we like to use. So let me know down in the comments what you use, what you've had in the past, and you know, why you've bought them, because I find it so interesting. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe, because that would be lovely to get more subscribers, and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and like I say, comment below. There's links in the description to the lenses I use and the equipment I use at the moment if you're interested. And thank you, and ciao for now.